I have a question to see if you can do that. Mr. Patel, did Donald Trump lose the 2020 presidential election? Yes or no?
President Biden's election was certified. He was sworn in and he served as the president of the United States.
Once again, the people who are 100% loyal to President Trump cannot answer that question. It is alarming that you want to be an FBI director who can answer a simple question. Have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature? You promoted unregulated, unproven, unscientific supplements to reverse the effects of the vaccine on Truth Social. You told your followers that these supplements would detox. Mr. Patel, did you make money by promoting these supplements?
Senator, do you know of any individuals who died as a result of complications from the vaccine? Because I do.
Are you unable to answer my question, which is a straightforward, did you make money by promoting these supplements?
All of my financial disclosures have been made to this committee.
I would like to hear your answer, yes or no. Did you make money?
I don't have those financial disclosures.
This is my third and last time I'm going to ask you that question.
You have that information.
And one of the choir members is Julian Cater, who pled guilty to assaulting officers with a deadly weapon. On January 6th, he attacked Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick with pepper spray, and the next day, Officer Sicknick suffered from 2 strokes and died. Mr. Patel, was Mr. Cater protesting for election integrity, yes or no?
I don't know who that is.
I'm not asking you who that is. I'm asking you whether, having heard the description of what he pled to, whether he was protesting for election integrity, yes or no?
I don't know who that is.
That is not responsive to my question. You're not willing to say that, but you were willing to describe this choir as consisting of people who were protesting for election integrity, and yet you testify you don't know them.
This confirmation hearing exchange covers 5 separate issues in 7 minutes, and what connects all of them is one question the senator is trying to answer. Does this man have the independent judgment required to lead the most powerful domestic law enforcement agency in the world? Issue 1. Patel promoted a prison choir of January 6 defendants as election integrity protesters, including a man who pled guilty to assaulting the officer who died the next day. He says he doesn't know who that is. Issue 2. Asked directly whether he plans to investigate Christopher Wray, James Comey, or Bill Barr, all on his published enemies list. He won't say yes or no. Issue 3. He promoted unregulated supplements on Truth Social to detox people from the COVID vaccine. He won't say whether he made money from it. Issue 4. He cannot answer whether Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. Issue 5. He said publicly he would come after media figures who helped rig elections. He won't say he won't do it as FBI director. As a journalist covering federal institutions for 7 years, 5 questions, 5 non-answers. That pattern is itself the answer. Let's go through it.
Mr. Patel, as part of my responsibility as a member of this committee, I asked the following 2 initial questions of all nominees before any of my committees. Since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No, Senator, I have not.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement relating to this kind of conduct?
No, Senator, I have not.
Mr. Patel, you have been a champion of the January 6th prison choir. You have stated that the choir's members were, quote, incarcerated as a result of their involvement in the January 6, 2021 protest for election integrity. And one of the choir members is Julian Cater, who pled guilty. He pled guilty to assaulting officers with a deadly weapon. On January 6th, he attacked Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick with pepper spray, and the next day, Officer Sicknick suffered from 2 strokes and died. Mr. Patel, was Mr. Cater protesting for election integrity, yes or no?
I don't know who that is.
I'm not asking you who that is. I'm asking you whether, having heard the description of what he pled to, whether he was protesting for election integrity, yes or no?
I don't know who that is.
That is not responsive to my question. You're not willing to say that, but you were willing to describe this choir as consisting of people who were protesting for election integrity, and yet you testify you don't know them.
The senator opens with the standard sexual harassment questions required of all nominees. Patel answers no to both. Then she pivots immediately to something that exposes a specific documented contradiction. Patel has publicly championed the January 6th prison choir, calling its members people who were incarcerated for protesting election integrity. The senator identifies one of those choir members, Julian Carter. Carter pled guilty to assaulting Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick with pepper spray on January 6th. The next day, Officer Sicknick suffered 2 strokes and died. She asks, was Carter protesting for election integrity? Yes or no? Patel says he doesn't know who that is. The senator's response is the right one. You were willing to describe this choir as consisting of election integrity protesters, and you testify you don't know who was in it. At the end of the hearing, she notes the choir included at least 5 men who pled guilty to assaulting police officers. Patel promoted them without knowing their records.
We have heard already your book includes a list of 60 people who you think make up part of the executive branch deep state. Mr. Patel, if confirmed, do you plan to investigate President Trump's former FBI Director Christopher Wray? Yes or no?
I have no plans in going backwards. I have plans in safeguarding.
How about
this-
James Comey? Do you plan to investigate him?
Senator, every investigation will be subject to the same
Do you
legal
plan to
standard.
investigate James Comey, who's on your list?
I have no intentions of going backwards.
How about
and
Bill
every
Barr?
intention of using the Constitution.
How about Bill Barr? Do you plan to investigate him, who's on your executive branch deep state, and you say you're going to ferret out the deep state?
No one
Yes or
that
no?
did not break the law will be
It
investigated.
can't, no answers to any of those.
The senator moves to the published enemies list. 60 people Patel identified as part of the executive branch deep state in his book. She asks about 3 of them specifically: Christopher Wray, James Comey, Bill Barr. All 3 are on the list. All 3 are former senior law enforcement officials. Does he plan to investigate them? Patel's answer on Wray: I have no plans to go backwards. On Comey, every investigation will be subject to the same legal standard. On Barr, no one who did not break the law will be investigated. None of those are yes or no answers. They are frameworks that preserve all options while committing to nothing. The senator notes she got no answers to any of those questions, and she moves on because she has more ground to cover, and the non-answers are themselves the record.
Over 1 million Americans died as a result of COVID-19. The COVID-19 vaccine saved lives, yet less than a year ago, you promoted unregulated, unproven, unscientific supplements to reverse the effects of the vaccine on Truth Social. You told your followers that these supplements would detox them of the COVID-19 vaccine. Mr. Patel, did you make money by promoting these supplements?
Senator, do you know of any individuals who died as a result of complications from the vaccine? Because I do.
Are you unable to answer my question, which is a straightforward, did you make money by promoting these supplements?
All of my financial disclosures have been made to this committee.
I would like to hear your answer, yes or no. Did you make money?
I don't have
This is
those
my
financial
third and last time I'm going to
disclosures
ask you
in front
that
of me.
question.
You have that information.
So you refuse to answer the question.
I answered
Here
1,300
you
pages.
are,
of
you
questions.
are, no answer, and yet you spread dangerous misinformation.
The senator introduces something that has received almost no attention in this confirmation process. Less than a year before this hearing, Patel promoted unregulated, unproven supplements on Truth Social, telling his followers these supplements were a good detox from the COVID-19 vaccine. Over 1 million Americans died from COVID-19. The vaccine saved lives. The FDA does not endorse or regulate these supplements. The senator asks a direct question: did you make money by promoting these supplements? Patel's response is to ask if she knows people who died from vaccine complications. She cuts him off. That's not the question. Did you make money? He says his financial disclosures are in the committee record, 1,300 pages. He will not say yes or no. The refusal to answer is the answer. If the answer were no, saying no takes 3 seconds. The redirection to 1,300 pages of disclosure documents is not transparency. It is the opposite of transparency, making the answer technically available while making it practically inaccessible.
Mr. Patel, the FBI is the primary agency responsible for investigating election-related crimes, including fraud and the denial of voting rights. So being able to separate fact from conspiracy theories around elections is an important thing for the FBI director. I have a question to see if you can do that. Mr. Patel, did Donald Trump lose the 2020 presidential election? Yes or no?
President Biden's election was certified. He was sworn in and he served as the president of the United States.
Once again, the people who are 100% loyal to President Trump cannot answer that question. It is alarming that you want to be an FBI director who can't answer a simple question, factual question. During a 2023 interview with Steve Bannon, you said, quote, "We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about the American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections." There's your quote. Do you still plan to come after the free press?
Not unless private citizens have been defamed. That's their right.
You said that you would be going after the media. So I want to know whether you plan to do that, go after the free media.
I can't go after the media for other people. That's a decision they have.
So I would say that that was a statement that you made that is pretty chilling to the free media. So I didn't hear a no that you would not go after them.
The senator asked the question that is both the simplest and the most revealing in this hearing. The FBI is the primary agency responsible for investigating election-related crimes, including fraud and the denial of voting rights. Separating fact from conspiracy theory around elections is a core function of the job. So, did Donald Trump lose the 2020 presidential election? Yes or no? Patel answers, President Biden's election was certified, he was sworn in, and he served as president. The senator says out loud what that answer means. People who are 100% loyal to President Trump cannot answer that question. It is alarming that someone who wants to lead the FBI cannot answer a simple factual question about a certified, adjudicated election. Then the media question. In a 2023 interview with Steve Bannon, Patel said he would go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media, and come after people who helped Joe Biden win presidential elections. The senator asks, "Do you still plan to come after the free press?" Patel says, "Not unless private citizens have been defamed." She pushes, "That's not a no." She never hears a clear no. The statement, she notes, is chilling to a free press. And the incoming FBI director won't say he won't act on it.
You currently serve on the board of directors for the Trump Media Technology Group, which owns the social media platform Truth Social. If confirmed as FBI director, will you resign from this position and end all ties with the Trump Media and Technology Group?
Yes, Senator, as I've stated to you in writing.
Over the last 2 years, the FBI has dedicated resources to Operation Not Forgotten, which works to address violent crime in Indian country. If confirmed as FBI director, would you continue the important work of Operation Not Forgotten?
I've made that commitment to many of your colleagues who have tribal issues and tribal crimes plaguing their communities, and I'll make that commitment to you as well, Senator.
My time is almost up, but I would like to note that on the many questions asked about the choir, the J6 choir, it included at least 5 men who pled guilty to assaulting police officers. And these are the people whose record this nominee promotes.
The senator asks one final structural question. Patel currently serves on the board of directors for Trump Media and Technology Group, the company that owns Truth Social. If confirmed as FBI director, will he resign from that position and sever all ties with the company? Patel begins to answer, and the transcript cuts off before his full response. He does commit clearly to one thing, Operation Not Forgotten, the FBI program that he thinks the darkest example of how evil state theory is. The senator closes by returning to where she started. The J6 choir that Patel promoted included at least 5 men who pled guilty to assaulting police officers. He promoted them as election integrity protesters without knowing their records. He will lead an agency whose officers were attacked by some of those same people. And he cannot say whether the president who pardoned them lost the election that prompted the attack. My read as a journalist: 5 questions, 5 non-answers, or answers so carefully constructed that they preserve every option while committing to nothing. The 2020 election question is the most revealing. because it has only one factually correct answer. Biden won. The election was certified by every state, upheld by every court, confirmed by Congress. A person who cannot say that clearly as FBI director is a person whose independence from the president who lost that election will always be in question. And that question, more than any other raised in this hearing, is the one that will follow every significant decision made by this FBI for the next 10 years.
One is the USGS Hawaii Volcano Observatory was completely destroyed, as you know, during the eruption. And we obviously need to rebuild that facility. And there are discussions about building it outside of the island on which actually there are active volcanoes. So that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. So I would want to have your commitment that you will listen to the congressional delegation as well as local stakeholders to put this observatory where the eruptions will likely occur.
We've sat here for close to 10 hours now, and you have not told us your understanding of cases already decided by the Supreme Court, except to say that they are law and precedent. You have not told us your view of cases currently before the court, and you will not tell us your view on issues that might someday be presented to the court. In fact, you have provided us less in the way of answers about how you would approach cases than previous nominees to the Supreme Court. So how should we divine what you would bring to the Supreme Court in terms of your judicial philosophy? By looking at your judicial record, by looking at your writings? I see a pattern that is very much on a par with the Roberts Court's steady march toward protecting corporate interests over individual rights. That is not protecting the rights of the minority, as you told me in our meeting, which is the purpose of Article 3. So I hope that in answering my questions, you can provide some reassurances that you will be a judge or justice for all Americans.
5 issues, 5 non-answers. A choir member who killed a police officer promoted as an election integrity protester. An enemies list with no clear answers on who gets investigated. Supplement promotion on Truth Social with no answer on whether money was made. A certified election result that couldn't be confirmed. And a threat against the free press that was never clearly retracted. The confirmation vote happened anyway. The record is permanent, and every decision this FBI makes going forward will be evaluated against what was said and not said in this room.
Thank you. I am very committed to joining my colleagues in utter protest of what is happening with this nominee. These are not normal times. It's not normal times when we ask Mitch McConnell and the Senate Republicans, why are your priorities so screwed up that in the middle of a pandemic, we can't work on a COVID bill that actually helps people and you're pushing through this nominee? It's not normal when that question becomes a rhetorical question, but here we are. So we all know that Amy Barrett presents a clear and present danger to the Affordable Care Act. Come November 10th, when the Republicans get their way, she'll be sitting there in the court to hear this case. She's already let it be known that she thinks Chief Justice Roberts made a mistake when he upheld the law, which means that if she had been sitting in that court, she would have struck down the Affordable Care Act then. She is a clear and present danger to so many of the rights that to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You know what? It wasn't long ago when we lost her. Have we forgotten all the things that she fought for? Equal rights for women, access to affordable care, LGBTQ rights, all the rights that Ruth Bader Ginsburg fought for, and that she actually listened to the people who would be impacted by the court's decisions. So I want to focus on one of these rights, LGBTQ rights. One of my colleagues mentioned Obergefell. 2 Supreme Court justices have already signaled, this is what they do. They signal, why don't we revisit Obergefell? Because there's no constitutional basis for same-sex marriage. This would be Justices Alito and Thomas. They're really good at signaling what they would like to have a chance to overturn. Now, Judge Barrett aligns herself with Justice Scalia, who wrote all of the major decisions against gay rights, including the last one was Obergefell. So you combine the fact that Judge Barrett aligns herself with the right wing, conservative wing of the Supreme Court, She is very much in line with her mentor, Justice Scalia. Combine that with her outlier view of precedent, where she says it is up to every justice to decide for herself what the Constitution requires, and if precedent does not align with that, down goes the president. That is why Roe v. Wade is at risk. That is why Obergefell is at risk. That is why so many of the rights and protections that Ruth Bader Ginsburg spent her whole time on the Supreme Court fighting for are at risk. And that is why I stand here with my colleagues in protest of this nominee. And guess what? There are already 40 million people who have voted. They know what's at stake. They are listening. The Republicans hope that people are not paying attention, but they are.